Well, if you're a veteran, you'd like to have a career in the building trades, turns out there's an organization that has been established that tries to make those connections and make that happen. It's called Helmets to Hardhats, where building trades education programs meet veterans. And Darrell Roberts is the executive director of Helmets to Hardhats, and he joins us this morning to talk about that. Good morning, Darrell.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Did I describe that right? Let's hear it in your words. What is Helmets to Hardhats?
Well, you did a pretty good job. Helmets to Hardhats is a national nonprofit, and we've been around for over 14 years. And we exist solely to help transitioning active duty military service members, National Guard reservists, and veterans find quality careers in construction, and mainly through the building construction trade unions, apprenticeships, along with their management partners.
Boy, we have spent a fair amount of time over the last, I'd say year or so, talking at various times with folks both in national positions like you as well as locally, say we don't have enough skilled labor, and they're trying to fix that. This is quite a way to try and remedy that.
Absolutely. And, Michigan's legislature actually took a great step forward by allocating $200,000 for the year to help veterans to actually hire a Helmets to Hardhats rep there in the state of Michigan. And anytime we see that happen, we see it possibly see veterans transitioning these trades either triple or quadruple when that happens.
And that is simply because they don't know these opportunities exist, or they have trouble accessing them. What's the tenor of that?
It's mainly just getting the word out there. You know, there's these valuable careers, this apprenticeships that last 3 to 5 years. You know, like the ones with the operating engineers, Local 324, and just getting the word out there and organizing that effort. While we're a national program, anytime you can bring a state view to it, that's when it really becomes of value when someone's working there at the grassroots level.
Mm-hmm. So Michigan allocates $200,000 for that, hires a representative to get that word out. So how do they do that?
So, mainly it frees us up, the national program, to really focus on marketing to the bases, to the active duty bases. What we found is if you can talk or get the word and information in front of a veteran or an active duty person before they transition, you can get their information, get them looking at the careers, and then hand them off, a warm handoff to a person on the ground where these careers are at. Then it's a great interaction, and you don't lose the veterans coming home. Then they have someone there on the ground that knows what's going on. With Michigan's economy rebounding, it's going to be huge. It's going to be very, very helpful.
We're talking with Darrell Roberts, executive director of a program called Helmets to Hardhats. Darrell, you've been observing what's going on here for some time. Can you describe, as a veteran approaches this transition in their careers from military service to civilian life, are some folks prepared for a skilled trades education and career, or are they made aware of it more by virtue of your program?
So I would say that some are aware. Many of the trades or jobs inside the military deal with operating equipment or technical equipment or along those lines. And so some come out with an idea that maybe this is what they want to do. They want to look at a career in the skilled trades and then look at an apprenticeship, one of the building trade unions apprenticeships throughout the United States, and specifically there in Michigan. And then others, no, they don't. They'll come up to the last bit of their career, whether it's 3 years or 15 years or 16 years, whatever it might be, and they start thinking, what do I want to do next and what's really out there? And that's where we step in and try to tell them at least about our careers and the ones that exist with this great training that's earn while you learn, which doesn't cost them any money.
Right.
And that's when we step in and try to make that connection. And for some, that's good. And it's not for everyone, but for those that really want to do it and want to be there, it's a great opportunity.
So how is Helmets to Hardhats structured? You have on one side those professional entities who need trade labor, and on the other side, those who could be those people. Is that the way it works?
Sure. I always look at it as one side you have the military coming out, and that's sort of your the supply side, and the men and women who have served this country honorably and they're looking for their next step. And then on the man side, you of course have the contractors and the projects that will exist in Michigan, whether it be infrastructure, whatever it might be. And then you need good men and women out there working at these opportunities and these projects. And by getting the military to look at these careers and accept them and move into them, then you have some of the best in the world working on what's going to keep Michigan's residents safe and booming and building.
Mm-hmm. Do you focus specifically in certain areas of the country at any given time, or if somebody were to come to you as a veteran and say, I want to be in the trades, and it could be anywhere, then it could be anywhere? Or do you say Michigan's got a shortage now?
Well, so that's one approach to it. Really what we find over the years is that a veteran will come to you or an active duty person will come to you and just have a different scenario. They might say, hey, I've married my husband's from Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska, but, I'm personally from, Ypsilanti, Michigan. Mm-hmm. And they'll say, I'm kind of on the fence which one I want to return to. He has work in Alaska, but I really want to go back up and, stay in Michigan. I'm a big Detroit Tigers fan, so I want to go back up there. And so you just work with them. You just say, hey, this is, so these are your options. If you choose that you want to become an operating engineer and you want to operate the huge cranes and so forth, well, then the better opportunity right now lies in Michigan because of what's currently going on. And then that veteran then has to make a decision what he or she wants to do.
All right, but it sounds like the country is their oyster. I mean, they could make the choice, and you can help put them where they want to be.
In most cases, yeah, that's absolutely true. There's a lot of projects going on right now, a lot of projects, a lot of infrastructure build, schools, the various areas. And but I know Michigan's one of those hot spots, and we want to take the veterans who are thinking about coming back to Michigan, and we want to make sure they're aware of these great opportunities because the apprenticeships, it's the other 4-year degree. You can come in and they'll receive a paycheck while they're going to school, then can also receive their GI Bill benefits right in their pocket. So while they're not paying for this, they don't end up with a big bill like they might in some scenarios, and they still get a great quality education, some of the best in the world.
Darrell Roberts is with us this half hour from Helmets to Hardhats. So as you mentioned, Darrell, Michigan kicks up $200,000 to try and help make these connections, and we know why. I mean, we've talked many times about the idea that we don't have enough skilled labor to take these positions, which, as you pointed out, are positions in which there is an education and you work while you learn, and there's no debt at the end of it, which is terrific, and you get a really good-paying job at the end. How did you make this happen, $200,000 toward this effort in Michigan? Did you have to lobby for that? Did you have to lobby to be part of that? How did it work?
To be honest, I didn't really do much. I just did my job, and that's working to help, nationally and even locally there in the state of Michigan help these veterans. And, what came along was there are the operating engineers, Local 324, and many of the other trades, electricians, the plumbers, the pipe fitters, the carpenters, the roofers, the insulators, sheet metal workers, all of them, they were talking with the legislators and talking about the program and what work we do. And there was an opportunity there, and they said, hey, look, we have this Helmets to Hardhats program. This is what it does. This is what we can do here in the state of Michigan. With a little support, we can really help our veterans here in the state of Michigan and the ones returning. And, I want to commend the House and Senate members there and the governor because they jumped on it and said, let's make this happen. Let's put more of these men and women to work. Mm-hmm. We need them, and let's put this forward and make it happen. And that's, really the work was done there. We just continue to help the veterans and the trades and contractors, and, your men and women up there in the trades made this happen.
We certainly do have a number of men and women who are active duty now or veterans now within the sound of our voices here in Battle Creek, and maybe we've piqued some interest. They've heard you talk about this. How do they follow up?
Well, all they got to do is just go online and go to helmetstohardhats.org and that's helmetstohardhats.org, and register. And, they put in their information. It'll take them less than 5 minutes, and they can see their careers are there. And if they're confused, they just call us toll-free at 866-741-6210. Once again, if there are any questions, they just call us at 866-741-6210, and then we'll help them walk them through the process. And there are opportunities that are happening all the time, and and I would be remiss. I must mention here. I apologize. Earlier, I thought about this. Even up there in Michigan, you have someone who's been supporting us for some time, and that's Carhartt. Carhartt's also been supporting us for more than a few years, and so even there locally, I've been up there a few times.
Well, that's interesting you said that. We've not talked about that. My mother's retired from Carhartt, and she knows firsthand how they're committed in the state, and their headquarters over on the other side of the state, and that's nice to hear. So, right, this really is a matchmaking service. Then, essentially, you have a need for these kinds of careers and this kind of labor, and an audience that may be interested in that, and you're just making these connections. Yeah,
that's why they created this nonprofit. They said, hey, you have 15 building trade unions, and within them you have over 80 apprenticeable crafts, so that's 80 different career paths. And then you have the contractors and the owners of these companies. And they said, let's get together. Let's everyone put all our careers out there, and let's let one entity tell the military about them and then help them find these careers. And that's what we do. We make the matches. And to the best of our abilities, we try to help that person, that man or woman that served this country. We try to help them find their very next best career with the best training.
So all you have to do is look at helmetstohardhats.org for details and submit your information and make yourself known, and then the matchmaking ensues, and there's lots of information there. helmetstohardhats.org, or if you'd rather make the call, as Darrell said, 866-741-6210. 866-741-6210. Very interesting, Darrell. Congratulations on the success you've had, and thanks for telling us about it.
Thank you for allowing us to speak about it today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Darrell Roberts, Executive Director with Helmets to Hardhats.